Woo! Sunday night, weekend is over. In a live stream, we'll see what happens and how long this particular live stream lasts, because I am not overly full of energy tonight. I almost didn't come on. I was just going to slump on the lounge and play Yakuza like a dragon. But we shall see what happens, what everyone's up to, how engaged everyone is tonight, what everyone wants to do, and indeed what there is to talk about in this wacky world of ours. Not least Western Australia going into a sudden 5-day lockdown because of possible community spread, which ought to knock it on the head, quite honestly. Be interesting to see what happens there if more cases are discovered. I'm pretty sure they'll get it under control one way or the other. So, yeah, there's that, and various people around the world rolling out vaccines. Liberal Party shenanigans in Victoria, which is pretty goddamn funny. Shieldsy, hello, good evening to you, sir. I'm looking. What is it? Let's go. Ooh, some indeterminate COVID test results in Melbourne, apparently. Yes. Nothing great. Ooh, apparently Mark Zuckerberg has spoken directly to Josh Frydenberg about the proposals to make the big social media companies pay traditional media companies. So that's an interesting one. So, and possibly the funniest bit of news I saw today, Donald Trump's legal team quitting just before his Senate trial, follow up on the impeachment. That's pretty funny that he has no legal representation. It's quite ridiculous, actually. Which actually makes me think Trump's gone off the deep end, because the rumors are he was asserting that he wanted his whole defense to be this was a witch hunt and he won the election and there was massive voter fraud and da-da-da. And lawyers who continue to push this absolute bullshit are actually at risk of being censured. It can actually adversely affect their career. And his previous legal team of 5 lawyers, while all arch conservatives, they had credibility in legal circles, and being forced by Trump to say truly deranged things could affect their credibility, quite honestly. Milk my man-tits, ground zero in Perth. God damn. Yeah, you haven't gone to Antarctica quite soon enough to get away from it. I assume the supermarket shelves in Perth are already empty of toilet paper and pasta and all the frozen meats. People are fucking morons. This is not a slight on the people of Perth. I kind of forgave everyone for doing it the first time when we had literally no idea what was going to happen, even though it was obvious there was not going to be an interruption to supply of basically anything. people lost their fucking minds and panic bought everything. I did get the shits when it happened the second time, and more so the third time. And then I'd consider Sydney the fourth time, and Perth, this will be the fifth time that people have acted like complete fucking morons. Oh, Gecko. Western Australia, which has had like no community transmission for a really fucking long time. I forget how many months, but a lot. I don't remember if it's 4 or 6 or 10 months. No community transmission. Security guard working at one of the quarantine hotels tested positive, and possibly for one of the more worrying variants. And so state premier has gone, okay, this could already be in the community. We're going to do a lockdown for 5 days just till we get a handle on this. And toilet paper missing because people are idiots. And even though we have shown multiple times now, there will be no interruption to supply. Don't be stupid and buy 10 times more than you need, because that will make the shelves empty. But people are fucking idiots, and they've gone out and done it again. And so, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know how many cases will ultimately come out of what we're seeing in Western Australia. I don't think it'll be many. And even, if the numbers grow, I think the West Australian authorities are going to keep it under control, and it won't be a big deal. But and the panic buying will be completely unnecessary, but people do it anyway because people are goddamn idiots. And yeah, see, look, milk by mantis, there's a problem with insecure work. And again, politicians are going to take absolutely the wrong lesson from this. What this has shown us is that insecure work is a disaster waiting to happen. Like when people don't have any stability and don't have a living wage, so have to work 3 or even 4 casual jobs in a critical situation, that's really bad. That endangers everyone. That endangers the whole market. We need to fucking get rid of this idea of the gig economy and the casualization of the workforce. It is unsustainable long-term economically. It should be stopped just because it's fucked, just because it's absolutely shit to do this to people. To have people working their guts out and you're not being able to afford to live is criminal. It is straight up criminal. But because the fucking scumbags in various political parties and business groups have no morals and don't give a shit about whose lives they're destroying, how can they miss now that it's economically devastating? In a critical situation, there's no resilience in an economy that relies on a casualized workforce. There is no resilience, and the entire fucking economy can get cratered straight away. But they're so fucking tied to their ideology that they will not do the right thing. So, Gecko, you found a gold mine, metaphorical, in the dumpster. Berenger, is that a audio mixing desk? Oh yeah, M80 Oxygen MIDI. Wow, someone's given up on their music career, and you're picking up on it. Nice. Chris, you never had person-to-person cases on the island. Well, that's one of the benefits of being on the island. And hello, Chris. How are you? Oh, good Lord. Okay, I'm soldiering on for now. I do not know how much energy I will have tonight and how long I will last. We will see how it goes. I think this is probably the last 2 nights of having a few drinkies, and I haven't had any catch-up naps after staying up on Friday night. It was quite late, and last night it was late-ish. I didn't particularly sleep in either day. and I didn't do any catch-up naps. And I think it's catching up with me, much like old age. Chris, you're just checking in before bed. Nice to see you, man. And thanks for dropping in. So I don't know how long I'm going to last. I might be fine. Might just soldier on through. Maybe this, having something to focus on, is what I needed. But we shall see. I'm just like pre-warning, essentially, that I might not last. Gecko, you think it might be the same person who threw away a smashed Yamaha Key digital piano last year? Yeah, maybe their music career is not going where they want. Milk my mantids. Okay, I'm going to have to contradict you there, buddy. Lockdowns categorically work in terms of controlling the spread of COVID. When you look at people who fucked up their lockdowns, really notable are the US and the UK, and more broadly Europe. What's happened in Australia clearly works. We have absolutely incontrovertible evidence it works. And it is literally impossible to sensibly argue against lockdowns, because we've seen people who don't, and they're fucked, and we've done it, which has been tough, and it is definitely tough. But what we see, and we've got the classic examples, the UK and the US, who didn't take the hard decisions when they needed to be taken. Now they're forced into far too late and far too ineffective lockdowns, and crippling economic damage that's worse than anything that happened in Australia. So it is an absolute false binary that right-wingers push, that say, and they're basically suggesting you can't have lockdowns because the economy. The actual choices are a lockdown, which does have an economic hit, it has a social hit, it has a psychological hit, or not, and it's tough. For a lot of people, it's really fucking tough. And I'm not understating that at all. But the choices are a proper lockdown, take those hits, and then recover, or don't lock down, get a worse hit on all those fronts, get a massive unnecessary number of deaths, and the US is going to be well over 1 million dead before it's under control. Everyone thinks it's bad now with 400,000 dead. It's not over. It's not even the beginning of the end yet. It's kind of the middle right now. So the two actual choices are do a proper lockdown early and take a bit of a hit, but recover and save a lot of lives, or don't do the lockdown, end up suffering a really critical economic and social hit, and have just a horrific number of unnecessary deaths. That's reality. That's not a theory. That's not an ideology. That is the measurable reality. We can see it unequivocally. Well, okay, Milk My Mantids, there are what avenues for you to get help for your home. But like I said, and this is what I come back to, the idea of an insecure workforce, people in the gig economy that instantly don't have any money if for the overall good, you need to stop working for a while. You need to be supported. You absolutely need to be supported. And the idea that we have an economy that doesn't support you is fucking criminal. But the only two choices are you do a lockdown, take the hit that comes with that, and then go into recovery, or you don't do a lockdown, you get a worse hit down the line, and you have an absolute mountain of unnecessary deaths. There is no such thing as keep the economy open and everything will be fine. That literally can't happen. The US is the most extreme example of it. The UK is second. The idea the economy can stay open is not real, and they, on top of ultimately having a worse economic hit than we've had in Australia. They got that massive number of deaths that were completely unnecessary, could have been avoided. Like the US is up around 440,000 deaths now. Properly managed, you probably could have kept that under 100,000, which is still a lot, but this is a serious disease and the US has a huge population. But I don't think it's unreasonable to say if it had been managed properly in the US, you could easily have kept deaths to under 100,000. And as it is, and it hasn't stopped. The next 6 months are going to be worse than the last 6 months. You've got this danger that people go, oh, we've got a vaccine. And it's just like, I'm really deeply concerned that we have not yet seen the worst of what's happening. Kirsten, Hellion, hello. And hello, Abigail. Gecko, I'm not sure what you're referring to. What did I think would be the estimate for deaths? It's like if when you look at the infectiousness and the likely rate of death, we still don't really know how many people COVID's killing. Properly managed, and again, I stress it's not being properly managed in the US, properly managed without a vaccine, you'd be somewhere between 1% and 3% of the population dying. Now, we hopefully have effective vaccines getting broader rollout in the next 6 months, but it could easily take much longer. So that number might not go down. Now, a widely distributed and effective vaccine would theoretically reduce those numbers, but the big problems we have in the US, COVID being widely distributed, and you have a problem with the crazy people, the deniers, the anti-vaxxers. It's going to be a while before we can have any realistic idea of the efficacy of vaccines in the US, for example. There is no guarantee it's going to help at all because of stupid people. There is basically the problem of stupid people. So if you don't have an effective vaccine rollout, this is not going anywhere. Even with an effective vaccine rollout, it's not going anywhere. It'll be part of the annual bloody flu season, and be part of your annual flu vaccination, which I bet the number of people getting flu vaccinations goes up after this. It's still impossible to tell what's going to happen. Oh, Jesus, Chris, in your city that was right at the hospital with COVID deniers. God almighty. Another super spreader event. Yep. God damn. Celtic King, are you spying on anti-vaxxers? Minds.com. I've literally never heard of that, and I feel compelled to look now. What is minds.com? Take back control of your social media. Free your mind. Get paid for creative content, driving traffic and referring friends. A place to have open conversations and bring people together. So, right. Our principles. Code and algorithm are free and open source. Content policies based on First Amendment governed by community jury. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. This reeks of lunatics. Okay, I'd literally never heard of that. Oh, dear. Oh, Shieldsy, you worried about you've got nuts telling you it's not real. I remember seeing reports that were supposedly from people who work in emergency rooms in the US, who, just that they've had so many people dying, and saying the toughest thing are people who, while they're dying, are, denying it's real. And they're going, what have you done to me? COVID's not, and they're fucking dying. And the medical staff are wrestling with them, trying to put them on respirators. And they're saying, it's not, the COVID's not real. What did you do to me? And yeah, just so much. And I actually saw a video the other day of a family of lunatics in the UK harassing hospital staff and taking this old man off a ventilator. And the stuff is saying, you can't, he will die. He will die in like 30 minutes without oxygen. And there's just, and they were obvious COVID deniers. Just, I think they got thrown out of the hospital in the end because they were dangerous. But I was like, good Lord. Oh, Raiders, you're a resident of the Menzies seat. I did see that fun bit of Australian politics. Kevin Andrews, the oldest, I'm not sure if he's the oldest, he's the longest serving member of parliament. He's a freakazoid, socially conservative, religious bigot who's just a weird fucking guy. And he was in a safe seat and he got challenged by a much younger former soldier. And although Kevin Andrews was publicly supported by basically the entire establishment of the Liberal Party, he lost the pre-selection fight, so he's out. It's like, wah, wah. Oh, Gecko, I'm glad you were able to see your mum. As you say, she's older and has a weak heart. It's nice that they're understanding and let you in. That is good, because fucking hospital staff, man, it's so stressful for them at the moment. And the stress doesn't let up. They've always been used to stressful days. Hospital staff will always have stressful days, and they'll always have traumatic events. That's the nature of the job. I'd always, regarded frontline medical people, and that's nurses, doctors, ambos, even fireys who deal with, critical situations. They're like society's shock troops. They take so much shit to just keep us going. So they always have tough days. They always have terrible days. They have stressful days. They have traumatic days. But this shit doesn't stop. This is ongoing. I mean, honestly, not in Australia. There's been stressful times in Australia, but, it's not, constant now. But in Europe, in North and South America, and most of Asia, it's just ongoing fucking stress for these people who are putting it all on the line for us. And it's like, Jesus. Yeah, Chris, the stress on medical staff can't be understated, and their risk of infection it's pretty full on shit. And again, that's the other thing. You get the deniers actually being incredibly abusive to medical staff. I want them locked away. The ones who harass medical staff, they should be fucking locked away. They are absolutely despicable. Just the worst. Ugh. Oh, Chris, your aunt works in medicine. Hasn't had a holiday in a year. Well, if you're in one of the crisis zones, how the fuck would you have a holiday? It's just like, it just does my head in. Yeah, Shieldsy, that's fair. Being worried about your mum. She's got allergies, needs antibiotics. And having those sorts of long-term illnesses does stack up against you if you get the Rona. It's quite interesting how that turned out, because like previous influenza strains that are threatened to be major pandemics like SARS and whatnot, that have been minor pandemics because they were contained. A lot of them actually, affected kids really badly. And this one, for whatever reason, less so. A much bigger threat to older people. It's the mysteries of fucking human bodies and our vulnerability to microscopic things. Isn't it like, anytime someone, gets a bit too uppity about being human, like we're the best, we're the top of the food chain, we're the most advanced evolutionary organism on the planet. Dude, you can be fucking killed by a single microscopic organism. We're not all that. Fair's fair. I like being a human. I like a lot of other humans. But this idea that we're somehow above everything when we could get brought down by a single microscopic organism is fuck. Okay, that's a bit much. Celtic King, would Toby say? I want to see those COVID deniers placed in concentration camps. It's an understandable thing. I think the harassment of medical staff should be a very serious criminal offence. It's just despicable. Strictly Sega, what's this? All the time we're strutting around here. Oh, you're in Western Australia. That's your turn. I think, look, the Premier's just gone, like, he's talked to the medical staff, and they've gone, oh, this could be bad. And he said, well, let's fucking smash it down hard. And then you can basically be 5 days, you can be super confident that you know what the status is at that point. You can always play the New South Wales game of doing it halfway because you're pretty sure you know what it is. And it's just like, oh, shit, you only need 1 or 2 bits of bad luck for that to go tits up. What's happening in Western Australia looks to me like the approach to make sure it just stops. Gecko, H.G. Wells, it was good insight in the original War of the Worlds that a cold bug killed the Martians. But, that was just basic. It's like what happened to explorers when they went around the world. They fucking died all over the place because they got exposed to diseases they'd never been exposed before. And what happens when they brought back people from other parts of the world who, really hadn't been in contact with any outsiders previous? A bunch of them died because they'd never encountered the diseases we lived with every day. And so that had been seen and again. So it was a clever little plot device H.G. Wells used, that these unstoppable Martians had no defense against our viruses, and it killed them. Jeremy, was it? Oh, yes. The conspiracy that 5G causes COVID, but countries without 5G get COVID. So who knows? Yeah. Oh, Shieldsy, you're saying Trump didn't help it. Trump made everything worse. Like I said, if America hadn't had a fucking moron like Trump, I reckon the fatalities would have been reduced by 75%. And I think I'm being conservative when I say that, because Trump completely fucked it. He kept spreading the lie that it wasn't that serious. He kept just saying insane shit. Like, if from a very early stage they'd had a leader who led by example, wore a mask, told people this is important, this is, time to step up for your fellow Americans, be a patriot, wear a mask, social distance, don't go out. That could have had just a huge beneficial effect. And but Trump's a fucking moron and a lunatic, and so that didn't happen. Strictly saying, you didn't even know. You're out shopping and you notice everyone with toilet paper and you thought, oh, something's happening. Jeremy, I agree with you. There would always have been people resisted in America with the mask. But okay, if Trump wasn't such a fuckwit, could you imagine the difference both to the spread of the disease in America and also to Trump's thing? If he had marketed, MAGA face masks, he would have A, made a fortune, and B, saved a huge number of lives. There would have always been resistors, but if they could have all had Trumpy MAGA masks, they would have done it. But Trump's just a fuckwit. And hello, Megaleech. Ugh. That's refreshing. I just made, I used my carbonator, the Carbo. Obviously not a soda stream, for anyone who's familiar with soda stream. Very, very different sort of bottle. But yeah, that's just like a lemon cordial. I swear I had some lemonade around here somewhere. I swear I bought some and I cannot find it, and it's doing my head in. It's going to do my lemonade and fruit juice, and I couldn't find it. Like, goddamn. Spiffy. Hello. Yes, dude. Okay, I'll let you in on a little secret, Spliffy. I have been coloring my hair the entire time I've been on YouTube. And the whole COVID thing, I got lazy. I think my last haircut and last hair coloring was in May. I think it was about May last year. I mean, I can get a haircut now, but I'm just kind of getting into having long hair now. And I can color my hair, but it's kind of like, this is actually me. So it's time for me to be honest. I was lying to you all those years ago, because this is my hair color all along. It's just that I colored my hair all that time. And now I've just got lazy. So you get the real me now. Mm-hmm. I like that, Kelvin. Toby's mum bought his dad roll of toilet paper with Trump's face on it. They always do that. They'll always put politicians' faces on toilet paper. Yeah, Shieldsy. Biden does seem to be doing a bit of work. So yeah, Spliffy, this is my silver fox look. Yeah, I'm probably keeping this for at least a while. I would always saying to myself, at some point, I need to act my age and stop coloring my hair. Because that guy we were laughing about earlier, Liberal Party politician who lost his seat, lost pre-selection for his seat, Kevin Andrews. He's a freakazoid wanting to impose like Catholic ideology on people. He's been outed by a much younger guy, former soldier. And this is really interesting because all the establishment backed Kevin Andrews, but he apparently lost the vote in the branch by 181 to 111. So that's a really big margin. That's not even close. So yeah, what everyone was saying publicly was that it would be close. Turned out not so close. So he's 65, okay, which is not ancient, but he's got this uniform brown hair, and it's like, fucking come on, dude. That's so obviously, well, it's actually probably a hairpiece. At the very least, it's dyed, and it's like, I don't know, man. You could always have a bit of fucking dignity. So maybe that's what I'm doing now. Finally acting my age. Gecko. I don't think that's how it works. I think if you shave your hair, it all grows back. Don't quote me on that, because that's one thing I've never done. I've literally never shaved my head, so I don't know what that would be like. I've shaved the sides. I have actually shaved the sides. Robot Man Greg, good evening to you, sir. Jeremy, will we ever see the Angry Mask return? That's another question. I don't know that I'm ever going to go back to even just doing the general angry videos. Something about COVID just took the wind out of my sails, and I haven't had the motivation to do it. And I've been thinking about it because, job-wise, things are actually going fairly well for me. And, I might have more opportunities in the coming years. But I could actually conceive in a lot of environments, people could use the Angry Aussie videos against me. Yes, Abigail, I agree. That's a widely circulated urban myth that shaving your hair makes it grow back thicker. Possibly a psychological thing. People thought, like, if you shave your head when it first comes back, the ends of it can be comparatively blunt, and that might give you the illusion that it's thicker, but yeah, it's not true. You're like the video of me with a mask running people over. Yep, that would be funny. Gecko, yes, the hedge fund shit is very funny, I have to admit. I do a wank fat on it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of good ideas for videos. I mean, you've missed out on some good videos. I had some good content in my head. The motivation is just not there. And particularly once the idea got into my head that it could potentially work against me, because I surely do not want to lose my day job because, or I don't want to have my day job inhibited because of YouTube, because it's basically not possible for YouTube to pay me more than my day job. I would have to be in the top 1% of the top 1% of earners on YouTube to earn more than I do in my day job. And that simply isn't going to happen. So at a certain point, you got to get rational. I had a lot of fun with YouTube over the years. The world has changed a lot, and my world has changed a lot. And it's, it's not necessarily to my benefit to pursue that. I was doing it for fun, and I think that's what's happening in COVID. It stopped being fun, and with the live streams, I enjoy these. I enjoy interacting. I enjoy this. This is our COVID version of socializing, interacting online, and so manage to stay in touch with people, get in contact with new people. Some people, getting in contact for the first time in ages. So, it's been working for me. It's just been chill, low key, and just generally a good deal for me. So, yeah, it is what it is. And I had a lot of fun over the years doing the angry videos, TFU Fridays, the Wanker Fats, and just, the various silly things I did over the years. But, for me at least, it feels like, that's all had its time. There's a guy that I connected with in the very early days of YouTube, and he was a bit wacky. He was a bit conspiracy prone, and I'm talking 12 years ago, maybe even 13 years ago. So he's a bit conspiracy prone, and he was a southerner from the southern US. and he's still going. And in fact, he live streams all the time to quite a big audience because he has gotten deeper and deeper into the conspiratorial stuff over the years. I watch bits of his live streams occasionally just because to see what he's doing and to try and see where's the mindset of conspiratorial people at the moment. And he's actually really clever. That would get his YouTube channel pulled. Like, he doesn't do the deranged Alex Jones type of stuff. But he feeds people like, and he's very good at giving off a vibe that he knows what's happening. And it's kind of fascinating to watch, honestly. So Shieldsy Linus said yesterday on his WAN show stream he was going to use his super chat to buy stocks, and he ended up with $25,000. He said he matched $1 for $1. Damn. Perfect line. Does the world still exist, or is it just a zombie hellscape? Well, and here is all the news reported by fake AI actors. We can't go overseas to tell. There is, and I know you're being lighthearted, but there is a line of philosophy that goes back a long way. That is, if I can't actually experience something, how do I know it's real? These people tell me it's real. I see representations of it being real, but I haven't been there to experience it. So maybe none of it's real. It's the old philosophy of, if I close the door to the next room, does the room still exist on the other side? You can go down some very interesting rabbit holes with that type of philosophy about if anything that I'm not directly interacting with, you can argue from a particular point of view that in any meaningful way, it doesn't exist because it's not having an impact on you or whatnot. Yes, Spliffy, the Schrodinger's paradox is a kind of thing of, quantum reality. You change things by observing them. Descartes with his I think, therefore I am. Okay. See, Abigail, you say a priori non-existence has been thoroughly disproven. There are philosophers who will argue that point with you because, and I would personally say they are arguing with you and they are in the wrong. But that's the purpose of philosophy, to discuss, what does existence mean? Saying I have the scientific evidence of this, well, it's to an extent is missing the purpose of philosophy. And yes, there is, in fact, I think very safely over 90% of philosophy that's been discussed and taken seriously by some people is bullshit. I reckon easily over 90% of it is bullshit. Easily. But in a lot of cases, when it's done right, philosophical discussions, the actual process of discussion and exercising your brain can be at least as important as coming to conclusions. It's the act of thinking itself, the act of exploring possibilities, however remote, can be an end in and of itself. And And as you know, it's like, as I was saying, if you go right back to Descartes with I think, therefore I am, he was basically saying the only thing he could be sure of is the act of thinking proved that he existed. But he couldn't be sure of anything else because, maybe I'm a brain in a jar and the thoughts are real. So I exist in the context of I'm a brain. But maybe various impulses are being fed into the brain that give me the illusion of being able to taste, touch, see, and hear things. So the only thing you'd be sure of is I exist because I'm pondering my existence. I think, therefore I am. Which is a bit reductive. Oh no, Abigail, I'm flying in the face of your proofs. Yeah, because, like I said, I do think good philosophy, and I think there's a shit ton of bad philosophy, because you definitely get some people who latch onto bad philosophy as if it's, like an objective science, and it really isn't. Bad philosophy can be very dangerous. That's how you end up with Nazis. And but I do, I actually like exploring what is existence, what is reality. If two people in the same room can experience the same thing but describe it in completely different ways, what's reality? Is there an objective reality? And different people have different sensory reactions to things as well, from simple things like not everyone likes the same smells. Some people can be in a place or the same tastes. Some people can get a particular meal put in front of them, and think it is literally the best meal ever made. And the exact same meal can be put in front of someone else and it will utterly repulse them. So that's when you get into things of, is reality a useful thing? I mean, yes. I think to function, we need a base level of a sort of common understanding of reality. In America, we're seeing what happens when you lose that. So, Kirsten, you turned down the aircon because you're hot. Now you're freezing. Yes. I know the pain. I know the pain of I am too lazy to improve my comfort. I do that all the time. Like, I'm kind of thirsty, but I have to get up and get a drink. And it's like sitting on the lounge, like, I'm watching this show. I need to go to the toilet, but I don't want to get up. But it's making me uncomfortable. But I don't want to get up. That would be even more uncomfortable. It's like, oh my God. See, Abigail, you're saying the world can be quantified and examined objectively. Subjective experiences don't count. Humans have a very bad tendency of not being able to separate subjective and objective reality. And like I said, two people can experience exactly the same thing, but think it's two completely different things. So I am basically on your side with I think where like scientific method is at its best is when it isn't about conclusions. It's about continuing to ask the right questions. And this is where I think it's hard to and the crazies in the world today make it really hard to have a rational discussion on that. Because me saying like, oh, subjective, objective reality, blah, 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 gets some idiot to step up, and therefore crystals will cure your cancer because the giants who live in the fields of the Nephilim have cultivated this to cure all humanity's woes. You can't prove it doesn't. Like, shut the fuck up. And but you just said science is always about questioning. I'm still questioning. Shut the fuck up, you idiot. Like, I saw a good comic today, a web comic, very long running one called Saturday Morning Breakfast Club. They did this. They normally do like these 4-frame things, but they did this really long ones about the problems with academia. Like, science is great, academia is less great, and it was a really long exposition of the problems with academia and studies being published for the sake of studies, and we really need to be honest about this shit and do it. And then they threw in like, and it's scary because when you get into this and say, hey, you're doing bad things and calling it science, it can feel like you're falling in with anti-vaxxers and flat earthers. And it's just like, because that's what people who take a thing like, yes, we should always be questioning. But then you get the people who just want to take it to an absolutely absurd degree that, I think I can cure your cancer by arranging these sacred stones in a particular form on your torso. Yes, SMBC is still going. Look, I'll actually find it. I'll read it because it was actually quite good. So where are we? Where the hell are we? Here I am. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Fucking hell. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, where is it? All right. Okay. Saturday Morning Breakfast Club, and they call it Science Fictions. And it's subtitled A Comic Book Based on the Book by Dr. Stuart Ritchie. So I'm just going through it. Science is probably the best thing humans ever invented. Academia, on the other hand, really isn't. You might think that advancing in a scientific career would be dependent on what scientists are famed for, discovering things about the world, inventing new useful things, and being as meticulous as possible while they do it. But that's not how academic systems work. To get a job, get promoted, and get tenure, there's one big thing scientists need: publication in peer-reviewed journals. It helps if these journals are the really prestigious ones. It helps if the publications have a lot of citations. And there's this great thing of someone having a discussion and saying, hey, Sally, you need 27 amounts of science if you want tenure, and you've barely got 14. So it's going, okay, you might have noticed I didn't say publications had to describe solid, reliable research. Just the publication will do, and the flashier the scientific journal, the better. Readers who know their economics will immediately recognize this as a perverse incentive. Perverse incentives are like a literal-minded genie or a magical monkey's paw. You get what you ask for, but it's not necessarily what you wanted. Ask for more scientific papers, and that's what you'll get, but those papers won't necessarily be any good. Scientists are human, and humans respond to incentives. The way scientists respond to the incentive to publish more and more papers isn't pretty. They cut corners, they rush their studies, they overlook inconvenient results, massage their statistics, hype up the importance of their findings to get them into those prestigious journals, and in some rare, though not rare enough cases, they make up their data from scratch. And yes, Abigail, I think you've really pinned it there. It's academia under capitalism. That's what's fucked. Absolutely. The perverse incentive. So peer-reviewed system regularly fails in its job of keeping bad studies out of scientific literature. The perverse incentives also help explain some of the more bizarre behavior of scientists in their obsession with publication. What else could lead to the phenomena of scientists loading their papers with self-citations, plagiarizing their own previously published papers to publish them again in different journals, and even forming citation rings where they make secret deals to cite one another's papers, whether they're relevant or not. And yet here's the strange thing. Despite the disastrous state of the academic system, we still make scientific progress. The true spirit of science remains, despite the drag of the publication mania. But imagine how much more progress we could make if we fix those incentives. All of this leads us with two questions. First, how do we know whether any given scientific paper, perhaps one discussed in the media, is reporting a solid finding or whether it's been corrupted by the perverse incentives? It's not easy. The old rule of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. So that usually applies. Scientists who claim to have made a major groundbreaking advance are probably overstating things. Studies that immediately lend themselves to one or other political perspective should also be treated with extra caution, particularly if the scientists themselves are promoting that perspective in the press. And I can think of a few that things. A man had police at your door for going to the local IGA. Wow. Okay. They want you to pick up some milk. She says, perhaps the best advice is to check what other scientists are saying. The best media articles on new studies will include a comment from a scientist who was not involved with the study. You can also find discussions and debates on social media with all the downsides that obviously implies. A second question, how do we fix the broken scientific system? Change can come from 4 sources. Source 1, scientific journals can raise their standards. They can demand scientists share their data and prove that they've written down their analysis plans before they touch the data. An incentive to publish more papers is no longer perverse in a world where journals consistently keep out low-quality studies. Source 2, universities can change their hiring policies. They can look beyond publication and citation numbers, rewarding scientists for being good scientific citizens and for pushing back against the bad incentives. Source 3, funders can fund different types of research. Instead of flashy-sounding projects, funders can fund boring but important types of research. For example, research that sets out to check whether previous results are solid or otherwise, rather than prematurely chasing the next groundbreaking advance. And source 4, scientists themselves can vote with their feet. They can simply stop publishing in journals that don't improve their standards. Those already have positions of esteemed universities can pressure them into changing their hiring practices, and they can band together to promote open science, sharing data, making their studies completely transparent, and ensuring they publish every result they get, even the ones that go against their favorite theory. Yes, Abigail, you've hit the nail on the head. The scientists don't like it. The universities do. That's why the starting point of this, science is awesome. Academia, no, not so much. And this is where we get the bit that I like goes, discussing the serious flaws in the scientific system might make you fear you're in the same category as creationists, vaccine deniers, or climate skeptics. But dispassionate, disinterested skepticism is the backbone of science, and it's precisely because science is so important to our lives that we need to save it from the perverse academic system. When science and human nature collide, science comes off worst. But now we know so much about where it all goes wrong, we can adjust our course and bring science back to what it does best, discovering the truth. And yeah, it's scientists are by and large good. The way the academic system has devolved across the 20th century, it's like it's putting roadblocks in for scientists doing what they should do and rewarding really fucking shit behavior. Spliffy, you can vouch for academia sucking. Yeah. Oh, God. And online. The stresses that doing everything online have brought in. Jesus. Yep. I can imagine people not liking the online shit at all. Very, very, very rough. But I thought that was, considering a lot of SMBC is like poo-poo humor, that was really good. So I did a random one, and this is basically saying what I think about intelligent design or guided evolution. As the God figure saying, okay, let's make humans. First, humans should be monogamous. Second, I'm going to shape the human phallus like a mushroom, so the head extracts the semen of rivals. What? Yep, that makes perfect sense. Oh, wow. They're just all science ones that I'm randomly getting. Abigail, have you heard of single-use unlubricated monocles? I don't know what that is, but this series of jokes is apparently specifically about that. If you use it in mathematics, that's like someone says, this isn't a proof. You can't have a whole step that's just Mathematica said so. In physics, what a waste. Half of this proof could be replaced with Mathematica said so. That actually goes over my head. That absolutely goes over my head. That must be some very specialized things. In fact, I'm pretty sure the people who do SMBC, actually it says it's one person now, Zach Wienersmith. I think they had one prior called The Parking Lot is Full. And that went very weird places. Maybe they're not related. I don't know. But I remember it's from like the early 2000s. The parking lot is full was super fucking weird. Sorry, Abigail, Zach Wienersmith started SMBC. Is that what we're saying? Because it was just his name on it. Oh, hey, and Abigail. I don't know anyone who keeps up on YouTube things, but a very popular Brit YouTuber as the channel Philosophy Tube has come out as transgender. Her name is Abigail. So in YouTube world, that's a pretty big deal. And as she said in this long video that attempting to explain certain things, saying like because of the platform she has with this YouTube channel, she is arguably one of the highest profile trans individuals in the UK, and then did a yay, I'm the princess of Turf Island. I just thought that line was hilarious. Yeah, the idea just to the point when the TERFs have been rising in the UK to suddenly essentially put yourself in the media crosshairs like that. It's like, woof, bold call. No wonder she actually waited some considerable time before going public. But yeah, it's not the greatest time to be trans or even just a supporter of trans people in the UK with the TERFs having such a fucking public voice there. Mean Gun, hello, good evening to you. Yes, it was the big video I thought was quite clever because she had a dude who kind of looked like, as she says, it's the character that she's been playing on Philosophy Tube. So got a dude who kind of looked is obviously not the Philosophy Tube, but he spoke as if he was, and that's when it got to the I've just been playing a role. Was a good mechanic to explain things, I thought, it might help some people with their understanding, actually. Yeah. I have to admit, I'm like a complete fucking wuss. The idea of taking a step about anything that would put me in that much public scrutiny is fucking terrifying. And not an easy thing to do. It's just like, Jesus. But she seems to have a lot of support from family and friends, which would be the number one thing you need for fucking holding it together, because there's going to be some absolutely terrible pressures. God, you'd have to have an entire plan to preserve your mental health. More so than normal. I mean, everyone should have a plan to preserve their mental health, really. But I mean, this is essentially going to war, which was actually a metaphor used in the video as well. The trenches of World War One. But it's the difference between I need to be prepared and I need to look after myself, and these are very important things that we should all be doing. And then there's just this question of scale of, and war's just a really good metaphor for it. And it's just like having to gear up. But Jesus. Yes, not envious about the amount of scrutiny that would involve. Sunbear, let everyone know you're ally because you've got a massive fuck you attitude. I will certainly not hesitate to say fuck you to a TERF or an anti-vaxxer or a COVID conspiracy, just conspiracy people and homophobes and racists and fucking fascists and neo-Nazis. I won't hesitate for a second to give them my fuck you attitude, because that's all I've got, really. Here I sit, happy cishet white male. Yeah, it's just, everything's going my way. So the least, literally the least I can do above nothing is to do my best to be a reasonable ally. Main Gun, it is just after 9 p.m. on Sunday night. Where are you located again? I'm sure I've asked that at some point in the past, but I have a mind like a sieve, or possibly Swiss cheese. It has bigger holes for things to fall out of. Yes. It is 9 p.m. on Sunday. There you go. That's the most interesting thing I can say about that. I'm wondering if there was any more interesting news. Dickhead Andrew O'Keefe, Channel 7 star, arrested on domestic violence charges. He was the founder of White Ribbon, a supposed anti-domestic violence group that an enormous number of people said was complete bullshit, and had a real thing about platforming men and forgiving domestic violence abusers. Main Gun, you're in Michigan. Sorry, what did I say, Michigan? Yes, Washington. Jesus, what's wrong with my fucking brain? In Seattle. Oh, dear. Oh, Sunbear. Yeah. I can understand nearly getting into the punch-ups with the fascists and the racists and the homophobes. They're fucking horrible people. Proud Boys getting conspiracy charges. Man, they have to fucking go to prison. It must be time for my regular endorsement of Behind the Bastards. Their current series they're doing is called Behind the Uprisings, and they are exploring, just in the light of what happened in the US Capitol, noted fascist uprisings of the 20th century and what we can learn from them. And it's interesting because he did. I've listened to Mussolini, who was successful, and the story of how Mussolini was successful is actually quite terrifying. The story of Hitler's failed beer hall putsch, and that's also very instructive as to why that failed, just barely. And then I haven't listened to the one on Franco, the Spanish fascist who maintained Spain as a fascist state for decades. But it's instructive. And when he says no, that the Capitol insurrection was not necessarily all of the people there realized what was going on, but there were people instigating who their goal definitely was a fascist insurrection and overthrowing the democratically elected government. That was absolutely the goal of people there. Oh, Kirsten, you're a day 2 of your gin festival. Another fun day. Excellent. I'm trying to think if I'll have a drink. Maybe a drink. Scotch and soda, maybe. With my nice Cappy sodas. That'd be good. Maybe I could do that. I could do that. Where's my jiggers at? Decide. Or I could just have an old-fashioned, actually, because I've got my Antica Fashionista from Bar Americano. Main Gun, yes, the Proud Boys got listed. I'm not sure if it's literally a terrorist group, but certainly a hate group, yeah. Yes, Nat, Gavin McInnes wanker, Canadian, who's the co-founder of Vice. Yes, he's a piece of fucking garbage. Oh, Raiders. Look, I think I actually saw a photo with a guy who's replacing Kevin Andrews for the first time. Him following Shapiro and Ted Cruz is not at all surprising. Just the look of him and his haircut. It's like, no, look into him. That guy is going to, at the very least, have been very indulgent of the views of fascist and close enough to fascist groups. I'll place my bet early now. Someone is going to uncover this guy's association, or at very least tacit support of extreme right-wing fringe groups. I basically have no doubt about that at all. Spliffy did hear one of them tasing himself to death. Apparently that wasn't true. I mean, we all wanted it to be true, that someone tased himself in the balls and died. But yeah, I've never actually really, I haven't bothered looking into it. But because, of course, there was, how many? Three or four of those people died from health things. I don't know whether they fell or had heart attacks or strokes. Yeah, I never bothered to look into it. Like, was there a coronial inquest? Was the post-mortem to say why did they actually die? Were they old or sick, or is it just too much for them? I don't know. Because yeah, there was 3 or 4 of them who died not because of violence, like health reasons killed them. Yes. Because you like my use of tacit. Thank you. Yeah, Raiders. Well, what would be interesting. So if the revelation of this guy's involvement with fascists doesn't come out till just before the election, that would be good. Torpedo him in the election. Like, we can't vote for an actual fascist or a fascist sympathizer. Mango, you've got all kind of Trump fucks in Eastern Washington, conservative as fuck. Oh, you sound happy, man. You sound real happy. Celtic King, you want me to do an ASMR channel? I'm going to stick with the cocktail channel for now. So think of the people who died. There's the woman who got shot because she was trying to storm the Senate room. The guys were pointing guns saying, fuck off or we'll shoot. There was the cop that the people with the thin blue line flag beat to death. Weird bit of irony. And then there was at least 3, possibly 4 people. I think it was 3 because I think there were 5 deaths altogether. There were 3 who, for some medical reason, died. Like it was too stressful or they had a fall or something. So, right. Okay. You know what? Okay, look, I think I've just answered my own question because I've been keeping my, I've been keeping my Antica Fashionista chilled. And I've got an orange peel to spritz over it. Oh, yeah, I did. There was some basically Spliffy joke about some of them with a "No, don't tread on me" flag that got trampled to death. Again, ironic deaths. Absolutely ironic deaths. All right, so I'm going to get me... Oh, good work, legs. Good on you. Where's my glass? Oh, I might use this glass because I don't think I've ever used it. The Cointreau glass. I'm just going to rinse it because it might have dust in it. Go over here. And where's the orange I was feeling? Here. And where's my peeler? The nickname for the British cops, the peelers. I don't know where the peeler is. There's a peeler. Right. A peel. A bit of orange. This is actually slightly khaki orange skin. Okay, let's do this. I can do this. I can do it. All right, that'll do. That'll do. Ooh, I wonder if I could fit an ice ball in there. One of my Death Stars. Let me have a look. Messing around. Okay, let me go. That there and that there. I think there's only one ice ball left. Is there? Yep. All right. See if it fits in this glass. Not quite. My Death Star sitting on the top. Wow, why am I so out of focus? What happened? What did I do? Maybe I do that. Come on, reset yourself. What the fuck is going on? That's really weird. What the fuck has done that? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's back. It's just auto-focused. Fuck, what the fuck? You like the shirt? It's like a Snoopy thing. Snoopy Halloween. Got off one of the t-shirts. I think I just need to leave that for a bit and it will, or I can push it through. Look this way. No, I don't think that's going to work, actually. Wait a sec. I might have a solution to this. Well, actually, I can think of a couple of solutions. I'll use this one. All right. Different glass. The sensible solution. Put this one back. And here we go. It's a Snooperween shirt, yes. Main gun. Kill the whole bag of hot Cheetos. Feel like a fat fuck now. Dude, that's me all the time. What am I saying? Celtic King, no, I'm not doing the podcast. Because it kind of... I only wanted to do it with other people. I didn't think the world needed one more straight white guy talking about how he knows the answer to everything. Attila back. Hello. So got my peel. Spritz some orange oil on the top. The sexy thing where you wipe it around the glass. Then just put the peel in the glass. My old-fashioned Antica Fashionista. So I have no idea why the camera just went la-di-da, because there were no physical controls on it. So it just went super out of focus and didn't want to refocus for a while, and magically refocused, not because of anything I did, it just decided to. So cool, camera. You have a mind of your own. I get it. You're not a robot slave of mine. You're doing this out of the goodness of your digital heart. Cheers to you, willful camera. Oh, yeah. I do like that. Established again, Abigail, you didn't like this one. Again, the spicy stuff doesn't seem to be to your taste, and that's fine. We all have our own tastes. Rye whiskies tend to be a bit spicy. I'm not into super spicy stuff, particularly as I've said before. Like with Indian food and stuff, I have to specify to them. When I say I want it mild, I mean white person mild. Okay, and I actually have a chili spirit. Don't think it counts as liqueur because I think it's 40% alcohol. Not 100% sure on that. I'd have to test, but I think it's a distilled spirit rather than a liqueur. The Ancho Reyes chili, it's good. Attila, what? Attila, are you listening to Deantvord? That kind of sounds like you're listening to Deantvord. And you should ease off a bit if you don't want to go. No, Celtic King, I've never used Tor. I've never bothered with that level of security or VPNing or anonymizing. Just has not been something I have felt compelled to do. Because it may surprise you to learn, I rarely do illegal things online. I think we all do things that some people would regard as illegal online. Abigail, you use Tor. Yeah, well, you're a lot better with the technology than I am. The Onion Router. I think that's a great name. Mangan, I think there's a split between people who eat spicy and not spicy, because for the longest time, Australia was separated from the rest of the world. What we considered the world, aka Europe. It took 6 months to get here on a boat. We did not interact to any significant degree with our near Asian neighbors. So we had super stodgy English food. So it was probably only post-World War II that we got particularly interesting food. And see, because England colonized India, Indian food's been a thing you could get in England for hundreds of years, not so much in Australia. And of course, in the US, sharing the border with Mexico, there's that influence of spicy food, at least in the southern states in the US. We did not have those influences in Australia until very recently. So there's probably less people into really spicy food here just because, people didn't traditionally have that. Mangan, you're big in the spicy. Fair enough. Yes. And I did notice the few times I've been in the US, spicy food was much more widespread in America than it is in Australia. I get it, Miguelich. You'd like a spicy bit for the flavor, not the heat. You like jalapeno and cayenne. I'm not huge into it. There's a Mexican place up the road from me. It's actually run by Mexican people, but they have mastered being able. I mean, you can ask for it super hot if you want it, but they have mastered being able to make Mexican food to my sort of palate, but still having all the flavors. Like their food is so fucking good. So I imagine people who like it super spicy could ask for it and would really like the way these people do it. Like I said, me being a huge wuss in terms of spiciness, I just love their food. Like there's a bit of heat in it, but it's mainly the flavors. Their food is so fucking good. Like you just get, and the sides they do, just even the rice and black beans that they have as sides is so good. Very big fan of their stuff. And one time when I was getting takeaway from them during lockdown, and they said, "Oh, do you want some frozen margaritas?" No, they're like giving me frozen margaritas. It was ridiculously cheap. I think it was like 2 frozen margaritas for $10 or something. It was something ridiculously cheap. Might have even been less than $10, which is ridiculously cheap for booze in Australia. And so they said, "Oh, do you want like 2 frozen margaritas for really cheap?" And I said, yes. And Mrs. Angry didn't want one, so I had both of them. And there was a decent amount of booze. Like I thought, oh, maybe they're tricking. There's like only trace amounts of tequila in these margaritas. No, I had them and I could feel, oh wow, there was booze in those. And they weren't huge. They were like this big. Mango, what's that? New Mexican food, best food ever made. We've had Mexican food here for a while, but yeah, there are a couple of chains that are maybe questionable. There's a small chain that appeared, I don't know, in the last 10 years called Guzman y Gomez. I think their stuff is great. I think the older chains are a bit, like Taco Bill is a bit dodgy. But every now and then, like in the suburbs, you can find a Mexican restaurant that's actually run by Mexicans. That's really quite rare. But there are a couple around Melbourne, Mexican restaurants run by actual Mexican people. So they're using really traditional recipes and whatnot. And in my experience, and I think there's only 2 or maybe 3 I've been to in Melbourne, and the food was just great. Ah, okay. Mango, New Mexican food is cuisine from the state of New Mexico. Okay, cool. Spliffy, you forgot they had lockdowns in the US. They're pretty fucking widespread at the moment. Abigail, there's a place near you called Trippy Taco. It's all vegan and a bit spicy. Is that a tribute to Trippy Taco from the monkey story? Hey, Safa. Thanks for dropping in for a bit, man. I'm slightly surprised I'm still here. It's like 9:30 and I'm still feeling fine. I was not sure how I feel. You know what? I think this might be sacrilege, but I'm going to top up my old-fashioned with a soda. Which one is this? Grapefruit and rosemary. What is this? Grapefruit and rosemary. I want the blood orange one. That's it. Blood orange and sage. I'm going to top up with a little sody. Okay, Abigail, it's not a tribute to Tripitaka. Okay. Sunbear, you get vegan offerings at Mad Mex. Actually, yeah, Mad Mex is another chain that's in a lot of shopping mall food halls. And it is better than you would expect food in a shopping mall food hall to be. The Mad Mex stuff is actually pretty good. Hey, Nettie, I just noticed you're there as well. And Safi, yes, we've had a couple conversations about Kevin Andrews because it's fucking hilarious. supported by all of the establishment of the Liberal Party, and he lost pre-selection. I had a bet the guy who beat him is going to turn out to have links to fascist groups. That's my bet. So Toby plans to use language learning apps and upload progress to YouTube and possibly Facebook. It's good. Having a bit of motivation to learn languages is good. Mangun, blue corn, shredded beef, green chili enchiladas. Damn, that does sound like the best shit ever. Oh, yeah, actually, no, Kirsten Zambrero is pretty good. It's another shopping mall one. Okay, you don't like Guzman and Gomez in Sydney. I've had it, I think, 2 or maybe 3 different outlets in Melbourne and always liked it, but it's obviously going to depend on the people who run the outlet. Locust Trooper, we're talking Mexican food at the moment. As you know, we go all over the shop and we'll be talking about anything, and we've suddenly gotten into talking about Mexican food. So, oh, that's tasty. Oh, damn. That was a good decision. Cappy Soda, people. Not a sponsor, but they make good stuff. They make good tonic and they make good soda. This is unsweetened, like not even with artificial sweeteners. So it's got like freaking 0 calories in it. 2 kilojoules per 100 mils. But it has a definite blood orange and sage flavor in it. It's really nice. So, oh, that was a good decision. Diluting my Antica Fashionista, which I'm not sure Bar Americano might regard as sacrilege, so I won't tell them I did that. Oh, that's interesting, Kirsten. You did like it in Melbourne, but you've tried 3 different locations in Sydney and all crap. See, that's the thing. Kirsten, you want to get sponsored by Cappy? You might have told me about Cappy, actually. But I got these... I was ordering some stuff from the Byron distillery. The people who make my must-have, the macadamia wattle seed liqueur, and they had some deals... I forget. Was it them? Someone had a deal of buy the drink and soft drink. I think it was Byron Distillery. I bought so many things from so many distilleries. I don't remember. I think it was the Byron Bay Distillery that had the deals. Celtic King, thanks for dropping in, man. Okay, now I feel compelled to look it up and see if they're still doing it. Byron Distillery, yeah, because I've looked it up before, so it auto-completes. Yep, Cape Byron Distillery. Okay, home of Brookie's Gin. Yes, I'm old enough to buy gin at the bar. Shop. Okay. Yes. It's the Brookies that had the deal with the soda and gin. I think I got the Brookies slow gin and soda deal because I've got Brookies slow gin. So it's one of those things when the idea gets into my head, I have to know the answer. So if you want to try Carl's Jr., I think I had Carl's Jr. when I was in the US. I know there's 1 or 2 outlets in Australia. So Locust Trooper, oh, you're sad that Sizzler has gone. I used to be really into Sizzler, particularly like that really thick cheese toast they made. I fucking love that. Mangan, I've actually got some Tito's vodka just over there. There's a little bit left. I'm not huge vodka drinker. I found Tito's to be quite drinkable, though. Like if I'm going to drink a vodka, I want it to be quite smooth. I'm thinking because I've got a big bottle of less flash vodka. Which one is it? Smirnoff. But I'm going to use that for some flavor infusions. I'm going to use some flavor. Yeah, see, Spliffy, the English gin made with sloe berries, SLOE, is very popular. It's almost like a gin liqueur. It's usually a lower alcohol content than standard gin. Brookie's made their equivalent with I think Desert Plum, and they called it SLOW gin, and because it's in the style of the English slow gin, but uses a different flavoring. And Anther, who I visited a while back, there in Geelong, they have a cherry gin, which is basically their version of a slow gin, which is really fucking good. Yes, okay, now we're all agreeing we missed the cheese toast. Oh, dear. Well, that's interesting, Abigail. Subway in Sydney didn't stock pineapple and were insistent that no Subway has it. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, Locust Trooper. I was a bit of a fan of Sizzler as well, actually. That's it. Davidson plum. I said desert plum, didn't I? Davidson plum, an Australian native fruit, is what Brookies use for their slow gin. Okay, like I said, as much as Bar Americano might raise an eyebrow at me adding soda to their old-fashioned cocktail, it's fucking good. So I shan't listen to any naysayers who say I've committed some form of sacrilege. I'm not quite that much of a snob now that I'm, going to stop myself from adding soda to something. I bet, Kirsten, there are recipes on the internet for the cheese toast. There is actually a supermarket product, which I have bought many times, which is very close to the Sizzler cheese bread. When you get it, it's got a really thick thing of butter on one. It's really thick bits of bread. It's normally like in the fridge. Like it's not on the shelf in the supermarket. It's in the fridge, if not the freezer. A really thick bread, and it's got this layer of butter on one side that's got I think powdered Parmesan impregnated in it. But for some reason, the other side is just plain bread. So when I get it, I haven't had it for a while. I just go to town, and it's like, okay, so you left one side plain bread. That's fine by me. I put butter all over that and then sprinkle Parmesan cheese, so that's sort of impregnated in the butter, and then put it in the sandwich press. And it is a good approximation of ye olde Sizzler cheese bread. It is quite a good approximation. Yes, Mangun, those pesky E. coli outbreaks in the Sizzler buffet weren't great for business. They were not great for business. In Australia, we didn't actually have the E. coli outbreaks. I think it was just people weren't going to Sizzler, is what it came down to. It wasn't economical. So, Nettie, you're liking the Parmesan coated bread idea. I do that with just toasted sandwiches in the sandwich press. I put whatever I'm putting in the toasted sandwich, and I don't just butter the outsides. I butter the outsides and sprinkle Parmesan on them, and then put that in the sandwich press. So then you get your sandwich, and it has a Parmesan crust on both sides. It's fucking great. You can have that one. That's for free. That's my delicacy I'm sharing with you. Just whatever you want in a toasted sandwich, but instead of just butter. Some people don't even butter the outside when they're making toasted sandwiches because they're fucking animals or something. So, criticizing people for not buttering the outside of toasted sandwiches. But no, that's my hot tip. Make yourself a toasted sandwich. It's going to be for a sandwich press, okay? You don't want to put this in a griller or something. Butter the outsides and sprinkle Parmesan on that so it's impregnated in the butter. Put it in the sandwich press. And my little trip is you put the baking paper on the sandwich press so you don't make your sandwich press really messy. Enough baking paper that's both sides of the sandwich press, and put your Parmesan encrusted sandwich in there, toast it. It's fucking great. Locust Strip, you got tenants for your place. Oh, good. So tenants in one place and you're moving to Altona. Got your fucking seaside wish happening, which is nice. Excellent. Yeah, Nettie, what's wrong with people who don't butter the outside of their toasted sandwiches? What the fuck are they doing? What the absolute fuck are they doing? Yep, Safa, sandwich presses are one of the fucking high points of Western civilization, as far as I'm concerned. They're fucking great. We got a little waffle iron over there that we haven't used for ages. You want to do the thing I've seen a few people do. You get the potato gems from the supermarket, like frozen ones, and you let them thaw out, and and then you add stuff to them and put them in the waffle iron and squish down, and you get a potato waffle. It's great. Safa, if I were to guess, I think the sandwich press is an Italian invention because the first time I saw it was with panini and focaccia. Might have been French, but I think it might have been an Italian invention. Kit, you like the t-shirt? Have I tried? Oh, yes. Welsh Rarebit. Yes. Kit, Welsh Rarebit is quite nice. Yes, absolutely. That's okay. Getting some rent on your property, Locust Trooper. Good, man. And you don't seem like you're being unreasonable. So that's good too. Kirsten, why are they not putting butter on the outside? Try not to 40. That is the talk of someone whose bloodline is weak and their seed shall not survive the winter. You got to live a little. And I don't mean like layers of, I mean, I use butter as a term. I actually use that, that cholesterol reducing spread. You just want something on the outside. So makes the sandwich yummy. Spliffy didn't catch COVID, but caught the baking virus. That was us in the first lockdown. Everyone was, I have the project. I'm doing sourdough. Like my daughter was she had a sourdough starter and was baking bread. So I bought this giant fucking thing of flour, which is now unused because she got bored with it. So I think it's still up on the fridge. All right. Yep, there you can see it. Giant fucking thing of flour sitting up there, and that's yeast. Oh no, that's rice flour actually. And that's little things of scotch. Little gift pack I got. But yeah, everyone kind of went off the baking and stuff after the first lockdown because the subsequent lockdowns were a bit depressing. So Locust Trooper, I've been through Altona. Altona is not an area where I hang around. It's actually a long way away from where I live. Although I used to live in that I used to live in the west. So I lived in that general direction. But yes, particularly in Melbourne, like we had like a fucking, I don't even remember. It's like a pretty harsh 3-month lockdown. And man, I don't even remember. I just remember we were all a bit more fucking depressed in the second lockdown. And yes, Nettie, doing the live things and hanging out and mixology, also what I've been doing. That's been growing for the last year. So, man, I really have to remember that Antica Fashionista goes really fucking well with the Cappy Soda. That is very good. Kirsten, Manildra is the same place that makes ethanol that most Australian distilleries use. That's interesting. If I remember, Manildra's... Oh, right, yeah, the flour's a byproduct. Okay, cool. Cool. You're actually reading the detail. That's a Manildra flour. Oh, no, keep talking fucking food, Mangan. Melbourne's big on food. Melbourne is big on... We have this sort of hybrid thing that apparently some people translated to America, and it was popular, very hip in some of the cities, New York and LA, what we call cafe culture. It's like, it's halfway between, like in US terms, it's halfway between a shitty diner and a restaurant. Like, it's not like a takeaway place or a diner. It's a step up from a takeaway place or a diner, but it's not as full on as a restaurant. And you get your coffee or your tea or your hot chocolate and your food, and that's what Melbourne's known for, the cafe thing. See, post World War II, we had a huge influx of European migrants. Melbourne was reputed to have the second largest population of people of Greek heritage in the world, the first being Athens. I've never been sure if that was actually true, but we have a great sort of Little Italy thing in Carlton. We had a very big Greek population, and the Mediterranean migrants post World War II, I think, were a very, very, very big influence on what became known in Melbourne in particular as cafe culture. So it's like good quality food prepared for you when you do it. Like, it's not mass produced like a McDonald's, but like I said, it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone between a takeaway place or a diner and a restaurant. It's in the middle. And I know when I visited the US, there didn't really seem to be an equivalent. I mean, we do get lots of gyros. We also had a lot of Lebanese people move, and they have kebab, which is because you get these slight changes in cuisine as you move around the Mediterranean, from Italian to Greek to Lebanese, and then you're right up into the Middle East. But you can see the connections between them. Yes, Kirsten and Nettie, we're famous for brunch and coffee. That's very big in Melbourne. Oh, that's a good one, Sunbear. You're working at Bunnings, and the veggie seedlings went completely during lockdown. Yeah, everyone wanted to grow veggies. Yep. Oh, Kit, inspired you and your boyfriend to try your own cocktails. Some interesting spirits. Oh, dandelion and burdock gin. Well, I'd start by keeping it simple. Your two classics, and they're classics for a reason, with gin is gin and tonic. Like, find a good, like, don't get Schweppes is okay. Kirsten will contradict me. Schweppes is not terrible, but get a better one. Like, I think you should be able to get Fever Tree tonic water. So yeah, you can try your gin and tonic, and also try and find a good quality vermouth, and then you can make martinis with your gin and vermouth, which I have a weak spot for martinis. And there's a few really simple ones with gin, like a gimlet, which I made the other day, which is easy to make with lime juice and sugar syrup. It's just gin, lime juice, and sugar syrup. Mostly gin, a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of sugar syrup, or a good quality lime cordial, or a gin sour, gin, lemon or lime juice, and a bit of sugar syrup and an egg white. Gin opens you a lot of doors, but there's a lot of good websites for getting recipes. Liquor.com, Difford's Guide, Punch Drink. There are a lot of good sites, and there's a lot of, these days, there is a lot of YouTube channels. A bunch of people, like at least 20 people, and I'm one of them, started a cocktail channel on YouTube in the last year. But there's a couple of the bigger ones, very good. How to Drink, Steve the Bartender, he's Australian. what are the other ones? Cocktail Chemistry, Educated Barfly. What's Kara's channel called? It's another. Well, she's actually Scottish, but she's working in Australia. Behind the Bar, I think it's called. It's another good one. But yeah, gin opens a bunch of doors, basically. Experiment and find out which ones you like. Because gin's such a classic. There are a bunch of cocktails. That's it. Thank you, Kirsten. Behind the Bar. Kara's channel is called Behind the Bar. That's a very good one too. But gin's such a classic spirit. There are a whole bunch of classic cocktails that, you know, are basically gin and one or two other ingredients. Really simple cocktails that are really yummy. Okay, Mengun. Mediterranean is code for Middle Eastern in your area. Yeah, we get a lot of here. People just say Lebanese. We have a huge Lebanese population, and the thing that possibly would have trouble catching on because of attitudes in US a couple of years ago, someone decided kebabs were too healthy. Because, you know, like kebabs traditionally have salad in them. Traditional kebab is the meat or falafel if you're a vegetarian. And the meat might be chicken or lamb or the mysterious doner kebab that no one knows what it actually is, or a mix of those. And the flatbread with, you know, with lettuce and tomato and onion and some sauces. And you wrap that up and nom, nom, nom. That's the classic bloody drunk food, kebabs. But like someone in Australia a couple of years ago, it's like they decided kebabs were too healthy because they had essentially a salad in them. So they invented the halal snack pack. And that's layered with the kebab meat of your choice. Like I said, chicken or lamb or doner kebab or some mix of that. So it's the meat and then chips, and then cheese, and then that's all melted, and then you put a variety of sauces on top of that. It's so unhealthy and so yummy. Oh, Kirsten, you passed 1,000 followers on Insta. Very exciting. And yes, cocktail Instagrams like the Gin Cart AU, for instance. Okay, Kit, you don't use the other socials. That's fair. But yeah, there is a bunch of good cocktail channels on YouTube. But yeah, even if you're just looking, there's a couple sites, and I know Difford's Guide does this. Liquor.com might, and I know there's a couple others do. But for instance, I know for a fact Difford's does this thing where you can set up an account, and then you just go in and you put in everything that you have: the spirits, the liqueurs, the mixers, the non-alcoholic things, the herbs, the fruit that you have. You put all the things you have in, and then it'll just go, here's all the cocktails you can make with what you have, which is a pretty fucking neat feature, quite honestly. Oh, Mangan, the halal snack pack is fucking great. It is, and it also tends to be huge. Like the smallest size you get in an HSP tends to be fucking huge, and you can get really big ones. And yes, Megalich, the traditional holy trinity of sauces you put on an HSP is garlic, barbecue, and chili. Again, I'm a bit of a wuss, so I changed the chili to sweet chili sauce because that's a bit milder. But yes, garlic, barbecue, and chili is known as the holy trinity for the halal snack pack. And yes, Sunbear, I'm not surprised you feel constipated just listening to that description. It's pretty intense. Safa, some of the kebab shops in Melbourne run real fucking late, like midnight and beyond, because it's drunk food. Kebabs are fucking drunk food. So you got to stay open late on the weekend. As the drunks just going, yeah, it'd be good. Fucking kebab. Kebab would be good. They rock up to a kebab shop. So broadly speaking, a lot of kebab shops stay open late on weekends because it's prime drunk food. So Yes, I just love that at some point HSPs, I don't know, they appeared about 5 years ago. It's just like it's as if someone just went, kebabs are good, but they're a bit too healthy. Because on top of that greasy meat, there's like a salad in there. No, 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 no. We just got to go meat, chips, cheese, and sauce. It's just like, so it's simultaneously the worst and the best. Like conceptually, it's the worst. Like you say, it is constipation and heart disease waiting to happen, but it's so fucking good. Ah, Kirsten, you also swap out sweet chili. Yeah, it's nice. Locust Trooper, Isaac Butterfield hates cocktails. That's just another thing he's insecure about. Oh God, Safa Pauline Hanson and hating HSPs and her confusion about what's that dude who got kicked out of the Labour Party who she couldn't understand he was actually raised Muslim. This thing. Was that Megalich? I assume that's come from Wikipedia or something. Snack pack originated in Australia, fusing Middle Eastern European. According to some, snack packs date to the 80s. Bullshit. That is a fucking lie. That is an absolute. I know you've got that from like Wikipedia or something, but that is an absolute fucking lie. Yeah, 2016 is about when they appeared. So about 2015, 2016 is when they appeared. Anyone who says otherwise is full of fucking shit. That is a complete fucking lie. Ha! Yes, see, okay. Mangan, tacos, kebabs are our equivalent of tacos, basically. Yes, like a trooper. Why do those right-wingers hate good things? Because you get the weirdos who are tied up ideology matters more than reality. So just like, yeah, no. Yeah, Mangan, I think that's the best way I can explain it. In Australia and in the UK, really, kebabs are the equivalent of tacos. It's what drunk people eat. And it is fair to say some of the kebab places have questionable hygiene practices and questionable quality in the food, and that's why they're popular with drunk people, because drunk people have impaired judgment, and yeah, it's a thing. But yeah. I love this. We're on to food. And pizza. I mean, pizza's a universal, I think. I'm a huge fan of pizza. Well, my comfort food is burger, pizza. We in Melbourne, we have a bunch of expensive hipster burger places. And I fully confess, they've got me. Like, you can be really cynical and go, oh, it's hipster bullshit, and there's those really expensive burgers, but they're really fucking good. And by really expensive, I mean $15 to $20. I mean, a lot of them are much cheaper than that, but it is not difficult to find places with really over-the-top specialty burgers that are 15 or $20. But they got me. I'll get them, definitely. Frankie, mate, you've just got it in time, just before I go to bed. So you're making taco trucks, drunk people stuff. Abigail, that's actually a really good description. Pizza's what you eat while getting drunk, and kebab's what you eat after getting drunk. That makes perfect sense. I see, Safa, grilled is a good halfway thing. Grilled's a small chain. It's halfway between McDonald's and the hipster places. It's more expensive than McDonald's, but cheaper than the hipster places. And I like grilled. I have to admit, I tend to go to the hipster places. Kit, you have a kebab shop near you, do a challenge kebab, a triple serving, 4 portions of chips in a massive naan, wait around 8+. Oh my gosh. I'm just picturing drunk people thinking they could do that and just throwing up everywhere. My God. My God. Yeah, Locust Tree, we were talking about, well, we've got a couple of people from Western Australia in the chat, in fact. So we did have a bit of a chat about that. Raiders, you like Easy's in Collingwood? I mean, we are spoiled. We are fucking, like, just around my place, which is not even, is so not hipster, my area. But within a couple of suburbs, like 2 suburbs, there's like 6 really quality burger places. Fucking spoiled for choice. It's pretty good. Anywho, that brings us to bedtime, honestly. It's 10 p.m. Mango, no, we don't have Popeye's chicken. And yes, Kirsten, you're right. Grilled has a poor record for not paying this up. In fact, they've got a poor record for stealing from their staff, which is not good. But good night, all. It's bedtime. I won't be here tomorrow night. It's like a TV night with Mrs. Angry. Got to catch up on The Expanse and find some other things to watch as well. We might get to finish Tales from the Loop. We might find some other things to watch. Who knows? It's a little bit of me time tomorrow night. But I'll probably be back on Tuesday. I don't know. There's a lot of variables in this world, so who knows? But if you're really missing out, I'll be uploading my Gimlet video to YouTube tomorrow. So if you're not subscribed to Angry Cocktails, go out and do it. And watch and thumbs up and leave me a comment and all those good things. Fool the algorithm into thinking I'm super popular. All right, Nettie. I can already give you reviews of The Expanse is fucking brilliant and A+. Definitely recommend it. Tales from the Loop is good and weird and trippy. It's not going to be to everyone's taste. But if I watch something else, if we pick a new thing, I will let you. Oh God! If you want really painful sort of cringe family comedy drama, God, now my brain is fucking blanked. It's on Prime Video, Amazon Prime. And it's English, and I've forgotten it. And I was watching it just earlier. Fleabag. Thank you. Fucking hell, my brain stopped working. If you like just serious, cringe, awkward family stuff, Fleabag is quite amazing. I've also been watching The Tick, not religiously, but it's kind of cute and funny, sort of cartoon superhero spoof stuff on Prime. I was also watching, there's a Purge TV series on Prime, and I haven't been like religiously watching that. I haven't watched all the episodes, but I've watched a few, and it's kind of interesting. They also have The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I watched a couple episodes and stopped watching. It's kind of interesting. I might watch more of that. But also, Amazon Prime has a shit ton of really fucking whiz. Oh yeah, Safa, Upload was great. Upload was hilarious. I really liked. There's one season of Upload. It's really good. Anyway, that's probably enough TV for now. I'm going to go to bed. Bid all you fine people, farewell. Good night. Take care. Be well. Hope to see you, Tuesday-ish, assuming I'll be here, unless something else happens. Yeah. Okay. Bye.